Since this day last year, 47 Australian women have been murdered. These women, ranging from 19 to 86 years old, were senselessly taken away from their loving children, parents, siblings, extended families, and friends. Today, as we come together to share our stories and discuss solutions to ending domestic violence in this country, we remember these women who were just like you and I, that were taken far too soon due to senseless violence. I will now tell stories of Rebecca Walker, Sherry Durante, Kelly Wilkinson, Doreen Langham, and Michelle Darragh. Rebecca Walker. Rebecca Walker was a 45-year-old loving mum of 3 with a smile that lit up the room. Rebecca had a love of karaoke and was a generous woman who worked as a disabled carer. Her mum says she was always smiling. Just 3 days before Christmas on December 22, 2020, police were called to a Townsville home where they found Rebecca and her former partner's bodies. To add to the horror, their 5-year-old son was the one to discover the parents when he woke up. He walked for hundreds of meters up and down the road, calling for help before police were called. The man's death was not considered suspicious, and evidence indicated Rebecca was killed as a result of a murder-suicide at the hands of her ex. Rebecca Walker, a loving mother, sister, niece, aunt, and a friend, did not deserve to die this way. She left behind her 3 children, Isaiah, Daniel, and Brodeen, Mother Gail, and Brother Daniel. Sherry Durante. Sherry and her daughter arrived in Australia last year full of hopes and dreams. On July 28, 2021, 37-year-old Sherry Durante was murdered by her husband inside their Port Hughes home in South Australia. Police allege she was viciously bashed by her husband. He didn't call an ambulance until the following day. Upon her husband's arrest, Sherry's teenage daughter gave evidence of daily assaults against her mother. Sherry was a loving and proud mother to her daughter and is described as having a zest for life. She wanted nothing more than to give her daughter a bright future. She could never have foreseen the horror she would have to endure and that she would leave her young daughter, who has already lost her father, behind in such circumstances. Kelly Wilkinson. On April 20, 2021, the burnt body of a 27-year-old Kelly Wilkinson was found in the backyard of her home on the Gold Coast. Her 3 children, all under 9, were believed to have been at the house at the time. Kelly was a strong, fierce woman who thought that being a mother was the best job in the world. The third of 4 girls, Kelly was a protector, never afraid to push the boundaries, and the kind of woman who went from riding motorbikes on cliffs to putting on dresses and jewelry. She made everyone fall in love with her antics. Kelly's warmth, smile, and witty humor were taken away from her family and friends in the most horrific of circumstances. Tragically, she had previously contacted police to report domestic violence and family issues. It's now too late. Kelly leaves behind her 3 children, Bryce, Sophie, and Willow, her father Reg, and sisters Daniel, Emma, and Natalie. Doreen Langham. On the night of February 21 this year, 49-year-old Doreen Langham called police to plead for the protection from her ex-partner. Police did not attend the home until an hour later. They knocked on the front door, and receiving no response, they left. It wasn't until a neighbor phoned 000 in the early hours of the next morning to report a fire in the unit that Doreen's body was found next to that of her ex-partner. He was the subject of a temporary protection order, but Doreen had made multiple reports of breaches of the order. The system failed to protect Doreen, and she lost her life as a result. Doreen was a loving mother of her 2 daughters, Shane and Tabitha. She is described as being the kind of person who would get out of a car just to dance, with a laugh that could be heard a football field away. One of her daughters said she made friends easily and she loved hard, and that as a child she aspired to grow up and be a mum just like her. Michelle Dara. On October 9th, Michelle Dara, a 32-year-old mum of two young boys, was found by her dad at the Victorian home of her former partner. They had recently separated and she had reportedly returned to the house to collect some belongings. Michelle was pregnant with her third child when she was murdered. Michelle's brother said his sister was a beautiful soul who put everyone's needs before her own. A loving mum, she adored her boys and gave her life to them. As a social worker, Michelle was described as a dedicated colleague. Michelle leaves behind many loved ones, but most heartbreakingly, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old who will now grow up without the love and support of their devoted mother. Unfortunately, these are just a few of the heartbreaking stories of the women who have been lost in the past year to domestic violence. I will now read out the full list of names and afterwards take a moment of silence in memory of the beautiful lives they lived and what could have been had they not been tragically taken away. Mimi Zhang, 49. Abby Forrest, 19, and her daughter Ivy, 19 days old. Adakruai Mitiang Ater, 57. Angela Silk, 45. Barbara Shabaud, 62. Bernice Dent, 74. Cassandra Sandy Brown, 47. Catherine Thomas, 66. Shana Tepp, 42. Sherry Gerente Orga, 37. Dee Anya, 34. Denise Brameld, 51. Doreen Langham, 49. Dusty Rose, 22. Gabby Marshall, 23. Gustina Lawler, 53. Janet Twer, 36. Jasmine Kaur, 21. Drew Zhang, 33. Judy Bednar, 78. Kayla Golding, 29. Kelly Wilkinson, 27. Lordi Ramadan, 48. Maria Ratke, 71. Mariam Hamea, 36. Maureen Miller, 77. Michelle Dara, 32. Michelle Mitchell, 50. Minsuk Morn, 49. Miss Bodak, age unknown. Miss Waterloo, 31. Shong Yan, 30. R. Rubantia, 46. Rachel Martin, 44. Rebecca Walker, 45. Robin Beaver, 82. Samar Dawoodi, 42. Stacy Klimovich, 61. Stephanie Lee Robinson, 30. Susan Murray, 66. Tan Chuong, 48. An unnamed woman, 34. Unnamed woman, 20. Unnamed woman, 26. Unnamed woman, 48. And Zoe Ansell, 86.